Let me get us going here. First of all, this is something we have been doing over the last several months. This year, it might have been all this year, really setting in the beginning. Let's make sure that everybody is muted real quick. Of just making sure that we are setting our goals in the beginning of every month, that we're being very, very intentional. And I feel like, and you're going to see this as you continue to grow and lead and watch your team, the more you do things with repetition. We've seen it with Send, Share, Invite. We've seen it across the board in our lives, of our habits, our disciplines, the things that we do, it compounds. And I feel like that we're seeing that more and more and more as we continue to talk about setting your goals, setting strategy, be intentional, collaborate with your team. And so we're going to continue that conversation today. And I'm so thankful that you are with me, because that means that you scheduled out, set time aside. I know how busy everybody is, and for you to say, this is important and I'm going to come in with the team, I am grateful for that. For y'all that are having to listen to the replay, I'm so thankful for that, and that you're going to sit down and work through this, because I do feel like that's a little bit harder. It's a discipline of sitting down and walking through it. But there's something that happens when we're together, because it just shows that we are for each other, that we're supporting each other, that we are here to learn and to grow. And so I appreciate that. A couple of things that I want to share with you. First of all, wow, like how incredible was July? And I don't know about you, but I'm like stumbling over myself to say that July was in the past. It's really hard for me to think that we're in August. And that this year, as difficult as it has been, has moved so quickly at the same time. And I was listening yesterday to a message, and it talked about that through hardship, that is where some of the most beautiful growth and birth is seen, is through death and hardship. And I've thought about that with our teams. Many of us have gone through very personal hardship this year, with COVID, with people being sick, with losing jobs, with children coming home and homeschooling and having to juggle. Marriages have felt tension in different ways. Relationships have felt tension. College kids having to come home and be under the roof again has felt tension. Like there's been different things that have gone on that we've had to surrender to, that we've had to die to in some areas. But at the same time, I think that we can all see and say that there's also been incredible good, and that there's been birth, and that there's been growth, and that we've learned new habits, new disciplines that actually help us. And so I see that with our teams as well, that because of what you've gone through, you have a new form of determination. Maybe it is because you've lost job, or a spouse has lost job, or kids have come home, different things that's made you determined, that you look at your business even differently. So I feel like that there's this new intentionality as well that's been very, very beautiful to watch, and to see you do things differently, be more creative, and get up every day and say, like, I'm determined to grow myself, my team, the collaboration that I do with my team, all those different things. And can I also say, in saying that as we grow, as we bring birth and new birth and rebirth to different areas, we also have to extend grace, because we're going to mess up through that process. We might get overly passionate. We might feel like that we're leaning in too heavy, and our team is like, okay, wait, we have to also give grace, that as all of us learn, as I learn, as I try to do new things, as you try to do new things, some things will fail and will fail forward, and other things will be like, man, I should have done that differently, the way that I coached or talked or led. Extend grace in that space. I will every single day say that this business, gut health and health in general, this business and this opportunity and how we do network marketing, all of that is, I feel like, the most beautiful redemption stories in itself. I believe without a doubt that the gospel is in everything and redemption is in everything, and how we redeem our time, our family, all those things. It is a thread throughout. And I see that in this business. And so we have to realize that through that, as we are learning and growing and developing, that there has to be some grace in that space too. And we all will make mistakes. We will never be perfect. We are imperfect people. And so be okay with that and extend forgiveness as well. So that is important, because as we grow, and we're growing fast and beautifully and strong, but if we don't have grace and forgiveness mixed in that, we will be broken, and we will have some gaps, and we will have some weakness. And I have believed since the beginning of building a team and seeing the Lord's vision, that I knew that for what God was calling me to do and the people that he was calling me to serve in leadership, that he was growing an army, that he was growing an army of men and women and families that are missional and focused and going after a specific vision. And that we are an army that desires to have an impact into our communities, our families, generations to come. And so with that, there has to be some grace and forgiveness, because that means we're going to be bold. We're going to be courageous. We're going to get out there and take leaps of faith. And with that, we know that there's going to be failure or mess ups or things that we could have done differently, or things that we said in the passion of the moment that maybe didn't need to be said, like all of that stuff. And so as we continue to move forward, I want us to have that strong foundation of applauding the people who leap, applauding the people who are courageous, saying, yes, go. But if they stumble, if they make a mistake, if they hurt your feelings on the way, you give it grace and forgiveness so that we can all continue to move forward. Does that make sense? Because guys, last month I said, like the last 2 weeks, I really preached it heavy, that we are a miracle in the making. And yeah, I was talking about July, but in the midst of talking about July, I was talking about August, September, October, November. I was talking about my 56 years in existence. I am a miracle in the making. You are a miracle in the making. Your teams and growth and business and impact, no one can say, I did this all myself. It's miraculous of what God does in us and through us to get us where he is sending us. And can I tell you, we see end results of gold, senior gold, ruby, emerald, diamond. He sees the journey. That's what his concern is in. That's where his space is are you faithful in the journey? Are you getting up with purpose? Are you leaning into me? Because he knows best that you are a miracle in the making. We have breath and life today. And so I want you to see, because I feel like sometimes whenever I speak out and I'm so passionate that you're like, we didn't do it. We didn't get there. I'm like, oh no, you missed it. We're a miracle in the making every single day. And when you get that in your heart, it gives you a passion and an excitement and a desire. We should never be disappointed with where we land at the end of a month, whenever every single day we gave it our all. And every single day we did it with joy. And every single day we learned more about who God is and more about who we are. That satisfaction, whenever we get on the phone with somebody for a full hour, to love them, to pray with them, to sign them up. Those are miracles in the making, because God is bringing divine appointments together. That's what the things that I want y'all to see and to know and to get excited about. Last month, and I'm going to continue this month, is of the Lord putting on my heart. Not everybody got to hear it, And I won't go back through it, but if you want to know, message me and I'll send it to you. But the whole thing on build, improve, enlarge. And I believe that it's just a continuation. You know, whenever the God speaks into your heart, it's not for, sometimes it's for a moment, and sometimes it's to build into future forever. But that is, you know, building upon what we know and what we've learned and how we're growing, improving ourselves. On Sunday, I gave you kind of an assignment to walk through of evaluating yourself as a leader. It's so important that you learn to evaluate yourself, not to be your worst critic, not to speak bad about yourself, not to put yourself down in your mental mindset, but evaluations to say, how can I be better? Because I want to be better. How can I do that differently? Because there's always ways to improve. So that build, improve, and enlarge. The Lord has given you a territory, and He has called you to claim it, to stake your claim, and to go courageously into that space. And we see that in Joshua. We see it. You see people who do prayer walks in spaces of territory. I know for us, when we buy our homes, we literally pray around the homes that we purchase. So He's telling you to stake a claim in your business, and He has given you a territory. And it's your place to prayerfully consider, God, expand that. What does that look like to expand it, for me to take it and have domain in your name and for your glory? And so He's going to continue to do that in August as we move forward. And so I really, as we get started on this is our goal setting training. And you're getting so good at this. And some of you are still like, I'm not quite sure what I'm doing. So we're just going to continue to encourage each other and until it just becomes part of what we do. But first and foremost, as you work through evaluating what went good in July, what were my wins in July, what can I improve on in July and do differently, and what can I do courageously in August? What can I do that will just set the bar up a little for me developing myself? Is it a habit? Is it an action of going live or doing more trainings or starting team calls or doing a team thread or starting a workout, you know, routine 2 or 3 days a week, or going for walks every night, like whatever it is, what is that courageous thing that I'm like, I've never done it before and it scares me half to do, but I'm going to do it courageously. And it might be honestly really getting consistent on reaching out. I mean, all this time, maybe you're like, I'm kind of fluffing on the reaching out. I'm really just building relationships, but I'm not asking. So your courageous action for August might be, I'm going to ask. Like, I'm going to really ask. That's my courageous action. And I'm going to see what God does with that. So looking at those things, but in the end, as you're doing it, you're committing to you, your family, and your future. And if you're leading a team, you're committing to be accountable to them. A lot of times as leaders, we think our team is to be accountable to us. No, I'm to be accountable to you. And it is what has grown me the most. It is the one that has developed me the most. It is the one that has helped me personally recruit the most, is because as a leader, if I'm going to lead with integrity, I have to be a great role model. I have to put into action what I say and ask you to do, and then I'm accountable to that. And if I'm accountable to you, I promise naturally you will become accountable to me, because we're collaborating together and you see me doing my part and it makes you want to do your part. So I think when we get that upside down, that's where we can possibly get things confused or get frustrated or think that people aren't working the way that we want them to work. But if you're accountable to your people with integrity, everything else will fall into place, because they're going to respect you. They're going to be able to hear from you. They're going to receive what you have to say. And there's vulnerability in that, because if I'm accountable to you and you're accountable to your team, that means that whenever we make mistakes, we're going to say, hey, I made a mistake and I need to do it differently. So there's vulnerability there too. And we know that that is one of our strongest characteristics about ourselves. And guess what it does? It just helps you bond more with your team. So it's this beautiful ripple effect when you start to do it that way. And it's a very, very healthy way to lead. So let's get started with goal setting. And I would love, hopefully you have paper in front of you. I'm in this beautiful little notebook, but it's really hard to flip through. But I'm just going to show you that I worked through all of my pieces and it was super fun for me. So here is mine. I did it over the weekend of working through what went well, what didn't go well, what do I need to do differently? And it helped me. I know you can't see it up close, but I highlighted different key words like scheduling and reaching out and ambassador client conversations, like things that I'm like, areas that I need to work on. And then it helped me in my, right down here, as I work through everything, it helps me know exactly where to focus. And so what do I need to train on? Myself, my team. Where do I need to focus to get things better? Worked through my goals and what my goals are and what I want to do. And then I went from there, just so that you guys can see, I worked through the goals of my leaders and where they want to be. So I set those things up before I even have my conversations with my leaders. I set up, because if you continue to work with your teams, you kind of know where their goals are, if they hit their goals, if it was a milestone month for them. And you get those things down so that you're prepared to have the conversation with them. So let me flip back over of working through that. So I want you to write down, what is your goal for this month? And as I was thinking through this morning, guys, of setting our goal, and I talk a lot about mindset goals, and I thought today, you know, it might be a milestone month for you. And whenever I say that, let me tell you what I'm talking about whenever I say that. Maybe you hit gold and you're going for senior gold, and that's 150 points going from gold to senior gold. And maybe you're like, I don't know that I can do 150 yet. Like, I'm still kind of working on my own. I don't have a business builder. So you might be like, I don't know that I can do 150, but I know I can do 75. That's like a milestone to where you are getting halfway or past halfway, so that you know that the next month you're setting yourself up, is what you're doing, to be able to rank. And I love milestone months, and I want everyone, because a lot of people are like, man, everybody's ranking, and if I'm not ranking, it means I'm a failure, or maybe this business isn't for me, or I'm not going at the right pace. And that's not what any of that means. It means it's a milestone. And so those are good things for you to know mentally and for you to write down, because you know your plan. Everybody else has their plan. You know yours. But one thing that I thought about this morning as I'm thinking through this about milestone months, and I thought, it might be your milestone month, but I don't ever want you to sell yourself short either. So it might be like your goal is your next rank. I would put down the points of what your next rank is, knowing that there's a possibility you won't hit it. But if you don't go all in going for it to hit it, then man, you might have sold yourself short. So I want you to hear that with love, because I sit back and think a little bit of, wow, you know, Susie, like, she hit those 75 points and she hit them in 3 weeks, and she's going, wow, I did my goal. And I'm thinking, you got a whole week to develop silvers and to speak vision into all those people. And some of those people like have really great influence, and they could actually go fast start super silver. But because in your brain you thought, I'm just going to this spot and not past that spot, you missed a huge opportunity to really impact other people and families. And so I want you to hear that too. So write down what your goal is for August. Is that, are you going for gold, senior gold, ruby, senior ruby, emerald? What is that goal? And then from that, I really want you to spend some time, and I'm not going to go back to Sunday, but you can go back to Sunday and look at that post. But guys, it's so important to visualize what that goal means for you. Now, we've worked through whys. I think we have to work through our whys a lot. We talked about it the week before. That is important, but you have to visualize what the immediate means. You need to visualize what it means to to work today, to do an hour of work, 5 reach outs, whatever that looks like for you. You need to visualize that, and you need to visualize what's in your goal. If you hit that goal, what does that mean for you? What does it mean about you, like your determination and your will and your courageous actions? What does it mean for your family? What do your children visualize how they're going to feel about mommy when mommy does that? Work through that and visualize it. Write it down. What does it feel like? What does it taste like? Are you going to do a celebration? All those different things, but you need to have it in front of you. Like I was talking to Craig last month about what it means for our team to be a diamond team. And y'all have heard me say this. I said it even last night at our unboxing event, but it is a display and a portrayal, a picture of the success of thousands. And it's a beautiful thing. But what does it mean for me and Craig personally? Like working through what it means on a personal basis. And I was telling him, you know, like I can't imagine hitting that rank without him like right literally beside me, because he's gone 7 years through this process. And one thing that I shared with y'all on Sunday in my post of thank you is that he knows your names. He prays for you. We talk about y'all. We talk about how to get to a certain spot. He knows. He goes into my room that looks like a war room, my cute little office that I never get to be in because it has no internet. Like he sees all my stickies, he sees your names. And literally last week, I'm like, babe, you can come in here at any time, pray for all these names. See all these names? He knows. And so for me to get somewhere, and you might feel that same way of, man, I got to have my family around me whenever that happens. When we get that goal, it's going to be a celebration. I'm going to speak out for Michelle. I didn't ask for this, but like we celebrated her when she went Sapphire, woo, 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 last week. But like her husband did all these blue things. Like it was so cool. Like she shared with us, like he had just this display of blue items. Like her day was full of blue. And y'all know, if y'all know Michelle, she loves bubble baths, and her bubble bath was blue. Like it's just, what is that visual? Like, what is that? You need to visualize it. One thing Michelle said, and y'all probably feel the same way, and I have felt that way, it's surreal. So what is the visual that makes it real? Like what makes it go, this is the experience I've been visualizing. What will you do with that bonus? Where will that bonus go? I know I've told y'all so many times, I still remember my senior gold bonus because my son played year-round basketball and we needed uniforms and shoes were super expensive. I knew exactly where that was going, and it was a celebration for me that I could give in that way. And so what does that look like for you? So put that down. Now, I want you, if you can get into your back office, I want you to go to your back office. Once you have down your goal, we really need to work through how you're going to get there. So in your back office, you need to know the points that you ended with. Hopefully everyone on here tracks your numbers. If you looked at my phone, I have notes in my phone of my points, and I think it goes back probably 4 years. So if I ever lose this, I might literally cry. It goes back, it's like thinking. Right now it's at 2017, January 2017, and it's still clocking. So I think it goes back to 2016. So I have them all in here. Here's all my points, and I go on a daily basis. You need to know where you are, and you need to track your points, and you need to know where you end. And it gets really crucial as you begin to rank up to know if you're ahead of yourself from your month before, if you're trying to do a rank up. So if you don't do that, I would really say start doing that. Put it somewhere. You can put it into your calendar. You can put it into a notebook that you keep with you that you don't lose. Put it into your notes in your phone so you can grab it at any time. So I want you to go, if you go to your back office on the left, if you're on your laptop, that you have a points and rank, you can click on business, my business, and then points and rank. And then there's a little drop down and you can go back to July. And whenever you click on July, it's going to bring up your points for June and July. So it'll show you your last 2 months. So you need to put that down. Write down what that number is, okay? And guys, we go through this over and over again. And a lot of times whenever I walk through this with people and is whenever I talk about retention and attrition and all that great stuff, it's like, you know, all the air, the helium goes out of their balloon because they're like, I worked so hard. But this is the fact, is that we have attrition, and it happens everywhere. In any business that you have, you're only going to retain a certain amount. I want to do a side note of this, of retention. Retention is so critical. We will always lose some people. They can't get through the detox. They weren't prepared for it. They get scared. Maybe honestly, even from the beginning, they just weren't going to do it. Maybe they can't get into a habit. Maybe they have too much product and all of a sudden we lose them for a month because they've got 2 months worth. Like, you're going to lose people. But retention, the most critical piece, if you are like, I work hard to get people to join, the way that you're going to keep them is you, for the most part. It's your onboarding, sending that welcome email, letting them know how to take the product, signing them up on the phone, bonding with them, sharing your story, telling them a little bit maybe about your detox story and what to prepare for, sending a detox article, doing the 3, 7, 14, 21, 28, like we've talked about that for 2 years now, following up with them, checking on them, seeing how they're feeling, troubleshooting with them. If you're not doing those first 2 months really critical, you're probably not going to retain them, to be honest. A lot of you will say, I'm so scared to call them. I'm so scared to text them. What if they quit? What if they ghost me? Grow up. You have a business. This is your business. Take responsibility and don't let fear get in the way. Most probably, they would love to hear from you. Now, I have people who ghost me. 9 out of 10 times I'll lose those people. But I promise you, I go down fighting. Because it's my responsibility and it's my reputation. Every person I sign, it's my responsibility for them to be successful. So I will do my part with confidence, to love them well, to leave voice clips even if they ghost me, to leave a voicemail and call them and leave a voicemail even if they don't answer, to send them a text, tell them I'm praying for them. But usually you lose them. And it's critical. I've added so many people over the last 2 to 3 months. I have so many people I'm following up with, but many of them that have ghosted me that I continue to work with, and they finally speak. It's usually, I don't like the taste of the Slim. I'm very, very bloated. I don't think I like this. When they finally speak out, guess what? We get to speak life back into them about, why is the taste different? There's some reasons. It could be metals in their bodies. If their gut is unhealthy, literally their taste buds are not like on point. Things can taste bitter, sour, metally, depending on if they have metals. The alpha lipoic acid actually pulls that out. But you can share those things. Like, you can tell them. If you're like, Melissa, I didn't ever know any of those things. That's okay. It's the way we learn. That's 7 years for me, but I ask a lot of questions. So if somebody comes back and says, I don't like the taste of the Slim, I'm really, really bloated, and you think, how do I answer back? Ask your upline, ask your sideline, put it on the team page, get the answer, and then go back to them. That's how you're going to learn. That's how you're going to grow. So don't be afraid of what they say and you think, I'm not going to be able to answer them. You can grow in that process. Okay, so that was a side on retention, because that piece is so critical for growing your business. So you have to be good at customer service, and you cannot be fearful. Like 4 days before their sub comes out, guess what? You're going to call them, you're going to check on them, and you're going to remind them, hey, on August the 28th, your subscription is going to come out. It looks like you're doing really well. We talked a little bit about adding that ease for your inflammation points to pull those down. Would you like to add that in? Or they might be like, I got this variety pack, but I'm really not taking anything, but I would just like the triplex combo. Okay, well, let's adjust that for you. Don't be afraid of having those conversations. And your fear is usually, what if they say turn it off? You now have the reason with confidence to speak to them about why it's so important to really commit 60 to 90 days and what you've seen of success from people who do. And just being curious. Curious is so good. Talk to me a little bit about why you do want to turn it off. I mean, we can totally do that, but let's talk a little bit about that. Remind them of their perks points, right? So there's different things that you get to do. You've got everything in your toolkit. And the more that you do that, the more confident that you become. So be prepared for that, because as we sit here and do these goals and you're like, oh, I hate attrition, your retention rate is going to go higher the more confident you come in onboarding your people well. But attrition is very natural and normal. So we have to be prepared for that. So as you write down your number for last month of where you ended, I want you to do your attrition. We do a across the board corporately, it's an 85% retention rate. And so I always multiply by 85% to get what my number is. And I worked through some of these for us so that we would know, but like if you are gold, you might lose 2 to 3, maybe 4 people in your month. You need to be prepared for that. Your retention rate would be 85 if you're at 100. Okay, so that's 3 people. And why I share that is that you need to make that up. If your goal is to go senior gold, you're going to have to make up those people. Guys, be prepared for that. Don't get to the end of the month and go, she didn't CQ, she turned off. What am I going to do? You were already prepared because you put some padding on there, and you prepared and planned ahead of time that you might lose some people. So if you're senior gold, you might lose 5, 6, 7 people, 7 to 8 people, possibly. Be prepared for that, okay? So look at that. That's what you do. 100 times 85%, it's going to give you your exact number. 250 times 85%, it's going to give you your exact number. And then from that, I want you to subtract. So say you were gold last month, you want to be senior gold this month. So 100 to 250, you're going to have to do 150 points, but it's actually, you're going to subtract 85, not 100, to be able to pull out your number of what you're going to need. So that's your cushion, guys, and make sure that you do that. And then for me, I do my number point, but I also do my people point. So if you're gold, you might still be 1 to 3 levels, which you would divide it by 5 to get how many people you need. So like 250 divided by 5 is going to be, oh my goodness, 50 people. But as you go from senior gold to ruby to senior ruby, you're going deeper. So you might have to do it divided by 4. Or if you're moving ruby, senior ruby, emerald, you're going to do it by 3.5. because you're getting deeper. And so that's how you get your people numbers. Okay, everybody with me on that? And guys, if you have any questions, make sure you put them into the chat. We will answer those. And another thing, I'm just gonna go back to retention because I just saw my notes. Because if you're silver or senior silver, everything that I just shared with you, you are in the prime place to build strong. Of retaining, talking with your clients, finding out how they're doing your 3, 7, 14, 21, 28. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's in Passionate Pursuit. It's one of the units. You can also ask your upline. She will direct you fully and completely how to kind of see that training and what I'm talking about, and the message that you send, because we already have the messages for you. But you are in such a perfect place to build strong. So know that, even though you're new and you're like, I don't even know what you mean by onboarding. Whenever I think about my silvers and senior silvers, if I would have known when I was a silver what I know today, the strength of my business would have looked totally different, because I would have known how to onboard. I would have known to ask questions. So you're in a beautiful, beautiful place of really retaining at that level. So I want to applaud you on that and for you not to be fearful of that. So let's just go through. If you promoted to senior silver in July and you are going for gold in August, okay? You've got those 50 points as senior silver. You might lose a couple of people, so 1 or 2 people possibly. Your gold, you're going for 100 points. So you're gonna need 60 points, not 50, but 60, which is 12 people. So this is what I want you to think about as you're doing that. How many people are you committed to sponsoring and recruiting in August yourself, first and foremost? We know that we have the incentives 3, 6, and 9. You get $100 for 3, $200 for 6, $300 for 9. We also have the huge incentive, guys. I don't know about you, but I know it's huge for me. They put that swag, cute sweatshirt out there last night in our unboxing, and if you do 6, you get that. Guess who's going for 6? Pat's like, I'm all in. I'm like, I know without a doubt I'm going to hit 6. Now I might get to hit 9 or 12 too, but I know like 6 is my bottom line because I want the sweatshirt. So I don't know if you're like that, but I am. So what is that number that you're going to do? My second question for you, if you're silver or senior silver, anywhere in there, is who can you identify in the people that you have asked to join you that you can develop to silver? And whenever I say develop to silver, they're going to ask 3 people to join them. It's always good for you to write down, Melissa has recruited, Sarah, Michelle, and Tony. And I'm pretty sure Tony Tony's really into this. And so she has some friends that she wants to bring on. And so I'm going to put down 3 for her, and I'm really going to work with her. I'm still going to tell Michelle and Sarah about it, and what financially that they can be blessed with, and how great it is to have people accountable with you on this. And we'll see what they say, but I know for sure that I'm going to target Tony. So who are the people that you know or that you can ask? And I will say, you always ask all of your new ambassadors. You always give everyone the opportunity to say yes and the opportunity to say no, because now you know where they stand, and that's great. So make sure that you do that. And then if you have anyone that's already building on your team, like that not only Tony's already done maybe 3 people, and Tony's like, I'm doing this business. I want to do what everybody else is doing. I love the money that I've already received. If she's someone that's at building, collaborate with her. She might want to go senior silver. She might want to go gold, but you need to ask her, and you need to lock arms with her and link with her of what her goals are, not what you want your goals for her to be, but what she's committed to for herself, and you're going to encourage that and help her get there. So if you're gold and you ended in July with 100 points and you're going for senior gold this month, which is 250 points, your attrition is going to be that 85 points. So you need to be prepared for that. So you will need 165 points in August to be able, and that's 33 people. So either 33 people, that could be people that didn't CQ, that you're going to have CQ this month, and you're going to talk to them and share with them a resetting, or 33 brand new people. So you can do that the way that you want. Guys, on this one, this is really important. And I wish you could see this, because I always break it down, especially whenever I'm talking. Here it is right here where I have you. So you might be going for senior gold, and you personally are going to get 6 people. That's what you're committed to. And I actually do this on a really big sticky note so that I've got it, but you've got your 6 spots. Write down those 6 spots on your page right now. Those are your people. If you look at my, every single month, I do it every single month in my calendar. Let me flip over to August, because I've already got August ready. Here's August. I have my 6 people, and I have 3 more under it. So my goal is to for sure get 6, and then I have 3 more additional, but my baseline is 6. If you go back in my calendar, you're going to see it every single month, and guess what? I fill it in. So I've got my spots. I'm just waiting for the Lord to tell me what name to put there, right? So that's what you're doing whenever you write that down. So don't let that be daunting. Let it be a prayerful action of you putting it down and saying, God, I don't know who these people are, or I know who 2 or 3 of them are, but help me fill in the blanks of the others, God. You already know who should be on my team, who needs this opportunity. So start praying for those people. But then if you're gold going for senior gold, hopefully you have 1 or 2 people that are building a business with you. You're going to want to ask them what their goals are. You're not going to tell them what their goals are. You're not going to tell them what you think that they can do and that they've got the potential. You really need for them to make their own commitment. And it might be 3. It might be 1. That's okay. Because even if you know their potential, which is awesome, and you know that they can do more, encourage them where they are and help them be successful for what they see. But whenever you help them do that and you encourage them and you partner with them, it just opens up everything for them to go, oh my goodness, I could even do more. And you're like, yep, you can. Let's do that again. Let's do that again. But it's their commitment to it. And so if you're gold going for senior gold, one scenario was you doing 6 personally, but then you have a couple of people that you want to help develop to silver, and then you have a couple of runners that they also want to recruit 3 people each. But that literally gets you to 24 people right there. You only need 9 more. So whenever, at first, I feel like whenever I say 33 people, people will go, okay, forget it. Maybe it's a milestone month for me. Okay, this is a milestone month for me. I'm like, no, you can do 33. You can do 33. When you break it down, you can do 33. Whenever you see what your commitment is, and you've got a couple of builders and what their commitment is, and then you develop some of your new people of just them inviting 3 friends, you can do it. So write it down, put it in front of you, visualize it, and then you see the small bites, not just the huge elephant. You don't just see 33 and every day you wake up going, I'm never going to hit that. I'm never going to hit 33. But you wake up going, wow, Susie wants to develop. I'm going to work with Susie this week. We're going to do a girls' night out event. We're going to get her friends involved, and we're going to add her 3. And in the midst of that, I'm going to be reaching out every single day to my personal people and asking them to watch this video. So it's very small steps, and it's just the next step in front of you. But you start the process today, not on the 15th, not on the 20th, and surely not on the 25th. But you start right now because you see the map. You've got the roadmap in front of you, okay? Same thing with senior gold. If you ended at 250 points with your retention, you want to look at that as 212 points. So you may lose 5 to 7 people in there. So you're actually going to need 288 points. Usually we go, okay, I need 250. No, you got to cushion it, guys. 288. I divided it by 4.5 because you're going to have some people below you. So it's about 64 people. Okay. But listen to this. 64, you're like, how am I going to do that? Well, you're going to have people join you, 3, 6, or 9. You get to choose. That's your choice. But I'm telling you, if you're at that level and you're not recruiting, then right there, you've already put a weak link in your foundation of your business, because you should be recruiting yourself. So what is that number? You never just look at your team to do it for you. And then look at your team. Who can you develop in your team and help develop a silver, senior silver, gold, senior gold? When you do those things and you realize those bite sizes of helping them get where they need to be, senior gold, we went through it, 33 people. Gold is 12 people. Senior silver, they might need 7 because they had 3 last month. Silvers are 3. When you build that out, all of a sudden you realize how quickly you get to 64, right? So breaking those things down now, you've got to set goals now, and you have to map now so that you have the roadmap for the month. Same thing, Ruby to senior Ruby. You might lose 15 people, so you need to aim for 80. But when you are at senior Ruby going for Emerald, you've got builders. And so you break it down with your builders to see what their goals are. and then you see what the gap is, and then you creatively think through, because we all have options on how to fill that gap. Okay, so does that make sense? Does anybody have you looked at your own points and said, okay, I need to kind of understand this? Does anybody need help identifying how to get their points? Okay, did I do that for you, Pat, walking through that? Let's see. For instance, for Ruby to be in place, I take 535 goal and I divide it by 4 and then by 5. Are you doing a medium in there? So you're doing it by 4 points and by 5 points, and then you're getting your medium?
Well, I was doing it by 4 points just to make up for attrition, and then 5 points just to give me a number of how many people I needed, which equaled
the 27. I would just
right.
do it at 4.5, because
okay.
If you're going for Ruby, you need to look at your depth. But if you're at level 4s already and they're going to be recruiting 5s, you've got to put in that space, because 4s are 4 points for you and 5 are 3 points. So that's where you have to just divide it by the 4.3. Unless you're going even deeper, then it would be 3.5. Okay. Like for me, I have to go really deep. Like I have to do divisions of 3s and 3.5s for me, because I'm so deep now. Okay. Anybody else have questions on that? Okay, let me see. Jody, so if I'm gold, going for senior gold, right? 165 on top of the 100 for last month to get on top of. It's not on top. Well, yeah. I mean, well, you have attrition. So we've already put in for the attrition. So it's just your attrition is there. So it's the 165, right? That's what you're running for, is 165. And you can divide that by your 5 or a 4.5 if you're kind of going deeper and you've got people, but I think you can stay in your 5-point mark. So 5 divided by that 115 is going to be what, 31, around 31 people. And that was math in my head. So hopefully that was close. Does that make sense, Jody? And then for you, Jody, okay, perfect. And so for you, you've got some people that are looking at sharing and working with you. And so you build out with them. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so one thing that I want us to talk through is the leadership of this. Every single person on here, you're growing a business, you're already a leader, even if you have one person on with you. You have to be intentional. You need to plan out, which is exactly what we just walked through. If you need to walk through this like on a one-on-one, like I said, work with your sponsor. They will help you. If your sponsor doesn't know, they know to reach up to any of their jewels. Any of us can help map that out. So make sure, don't just not know how to do it. Ask for help. It's going to empower you. So make sure that you do that. And then again, make sure that you're collaborating with your people and asking them. We can't push people for our goals. We can support people for their goals. We can believe in them. We can support them. We can creatively help them come up with ways to do events. But we can never say, you have to do this, or you told me at the beginning of the month and now you're not doing it. It just brings a lot of friction and it's very unhealthy. And it makes people pull really far back, and then everybody gets frustrated. And the greatest thing I can say is, for this to be longevity, it has to be joy filled. And we get to do this business. We get the opportunity to work with teams. We get the opportunity to work with clients. It is a privilege and a joy. And whenever it becomes a frustration or an anger towards, we probably need to reset and say, what's going on with me that I see you in that way? So I need to evaluate myself to figure out what I need to do differently, because it should be a joy of us working together. And in the end, if your people always say, I'm going to do, and they don't, in the end, you need to cushion for that and say, Susie always says she's going to do 3 or she's going to do 6 and she never does anything. Okay, keep loving her, keep encouraging her, keep giving her ways to do it, but be prepared in your own planning that you might want to fill that 3 to 6 spots, because there's a possibility from her behavior pattern that she won't do that this month. There's probably some personal development that needs to happen, some belief that needs to happen. So help her in those areas, but don't get frustrated with her. All I can think is whenever I first started, I worked full time, and you have to find the nooks and crannies in full time. And my sponsor is Rosalind Payne, and her level ones flew. They got to emerald, sapphire, and diamond super, super fast. And if she would have put pressure on me or been frustrated with me or made me feel less than, I don't know that I would have continued, because nobody needs to feel that way. We got enough of that in the world. We don't need for our organization to make us feel that way. She let me go at my pace. She didn't know that I was going to retire. I didn't know I was going to resign. God's the one who told me to do that. I was going to continue to work full time. So she knew that my way of doing business was going to be different, and she never came down hard on me, and she never had high expectations that I couldn't meet. So think through those things. Think about your own journey in the way that it was presented to you. Okay, so I want to go quickly because I got to give Laura some time because I need for y'all to hear from her. Believe in your people and their potential and allow them to grow. Be accountable to your goals first and foremost, and be accountable to your team. Just be accountable to them. Let them be accountable to their own goals. Keep it simple. One thing that I saw at the end of the month is we got kind of like, it's end of the month and I want to rank and I want to do this. And we got complicated and we didn't keep it simple. Send, share, invite, send, share, invite, send, share, invite. Funnel them into an event. We have so many events now. We have, make sure that you do the first post. We have, that can be, quote, an event in itself, amen, because it can end up being a lot of people that you're talking to. First post, give them the way to post, give them the message to follow up with. We have ways to invite to girls' night outs, wellness events, lunch and learns, all those different things. 100-person launches. One of our really great ones that we did at the end of last month was money talk type deals, where we talk about how you can make money with this opportunity. And we do business events. So you have all different ways to be creative of what you're doing, but keep it simple. And everything has their own templates. You don't have to reinvent. So if you make it complicated, your people will quit. They've got babies at home. They're trying to figure out what they're going to do for school. Are we going to school, not going to school? Are we halfway online? Are we homeschooling for the first time ever? They're all working full time and they're having to work from home, remote, all these different. Make this a joy. Make them go, oh, this opportunity is so simple. Okay, I can do this. Like I can do this one thing. Keep it simple and duplicatable. So important. And then the big thing I'm always asked is like, okay, so how many people do I reach out to? Well, that's up to you. But a minimum of asking 3 people to watch a video. That's a minimum. And depending on your goal, it might be 5 to 10 a day. It might be 10 to 20 a day. It depends on your goal. So you're definitely cultivating relationships, but your minimum of asking is 3 people to watch a video. So that gets you moving and that gets you into momentum. Make sure it's a joy that you get to do this. Make sure that you rest your body, your mind, enjoy your family. We have this business for freedom, so don't get imprisoned in this business. Keep it as a business for freedom. And then always remember that you are your own billboard. So make sure that you're taking care of yourself spiritually, mentally, physically, emotionally, developing yourself personally, because you are your own billboard for your business. Okay, so Laura has been so gracious to go through all of that and to talk about this. And guys, I asked Laura Arnold, if y'all don't know her, you're about to hear from her, but the reason that I'm wanting to ask her to come and speak with you guys is that she literally made a determination last month to work with her team, to collaborate with her team. But I think that the thing that was such a big deal is that she made a determination. And within her determination of I'm going to let her share her story, I will rank. In that determination, she became very creative in her thinking and thought through options of what to do. And then she collaborated with her people and said, are you in with me? And as an army of people, they went out and did some crazy stuff in the last week. of the month. And I asked her to share it with you because I want you to see how she did it, but I also want you to know that she kept it simple. She had a template and she gave them next steps of what to do. So Laura, I'm going to hand it over to you, girl.
Okay. All right. Thanks, guys, for being here. So, just a quick backstory to show that it's never too late to build a team. I am now over 2.5 years in. I'll hit 3 years in October. And I hit silver and then added some more level ones, never got to senior silver. Yeah, I would lose level ones. One of my level ones turned silver and then she lost all her people. And it's just been a very up and down over the last 2.5 years. So what started it all was in May. Kelly, who was my very first ambassador, finally said, why am I not sharing? And I'm like, I don't know. Why aren't you? So she made a post and from there signed 3 people, but she still wasn't working the business. Okay. So we were helping her with these 3 people, which one of them went silver in one weekend. She signed up and then signed 3 relatives up in all in one weekend, but still nobody working the business, right? So that was in May. And then in June, it was still like, I'm not working. We're good where we're at. End of June, when that big famous, our magical post of, I'm looking for 3 people. I'm talking the last 2 days of the month. 4, all 4, okay? That's Kelly and her 2 people, 2 of her people, and Cassie. So 4 of them said, oh, well, I'll do the post. And then one of Wendy's did the post. And I'm like, y'all are killing me. Last 2 days of the month. Are you kidding me? So from there, it was like, bam, they were signing people up right there at the end of the month. So beginning of July, I got the 4 of them together and said, all right, guys, look what you did in 2 days. Let's make a choice. Are you going to do this? You've already shown that you can. So are you willing to give it a shot this month? So of course, all 4 of them said yes. We had a Zoom chat where I made each of them tell me their goals. And it was really quite funny because I kept talking to Andrea and Liz about it. And they were like, well, you can't tell them what their goals are, Laura. And I'm like, yeah, I can. I'm going to tell them this is what they can do. And she was like, you can't make them do a Zoom call. And I'm like, yeah, I can, And, Andrea was kind of like trying to rein me back in, but I was like, I was convinced that we were going to do this. So I think, unfortunately, Cassie wasn't available, but the 3 of them got on the Zoom with me. We talked through things, and from there, it just flew. I put off the 4 of them in a group chat. And, since Cassie couldn't make the Zoom, I just personally asked her, what are your goals? So each one of them had a goal. So that helped me hold each one of them accountable. And I was continuously reminding them that that was their goal. And then going beyond, it was simple. Yeah, I'm going to go silver. Well, you see how fast you're running. You can actually go senior silver this month if we keep pushing. Like how, and I'm going to show you part of my notebook. I was very convinced I was going to go senior silver, or I'm sorry, senior gold last month. I wrote it out. I will be senior gold. Okay. I was determined, right? I was so determined that I did this, and I wrote how many people I needed. And as each person in my team added somebody, I crossed it out. I was getting that much closer. I took it so far as to say, team, this is your goals. Okay. You told me this is what you want to do, and this is what each one of you need. And every time someone signed a person, I marked it off and showed them. I sent this picture to them. I would continuously remind them, oh, you're 4 away, you're 3 away, you're 2 away. Because, at first it did not seem possible to them. But they were willing to listen. And that's all I needed. That's all I needed, was for them to be willing to listen. So in that group chat, um, one thing that I made sure to do was, I knew myself that I've been in and out of the business. You can ask Liz, you can ask Andrea. There were times they were like, Laura, are you still there? And I'm like, oh, life is so crazy. I just can't do it right now. I would feel like I was trying to follow Melissa's IPA, and I was trying to listen to Michelle, and I was trying to do Andrea. And I would get so overwhelmed from doing so many things that I would disappear for a while. So I would definitely say, you can't follow everyone, pay attention to everyone, but choose what you can personally do. And a lot of it was just pulling from Melissa and Michelle and Andrea, like pulling what I knew I could do from each person. In fact, I did a bunch of voice messages to my team this morning, and I said, I'm going to be Melissa on you. I'm preaching right now. Because I feel like every time you listen to Melissa, it's like a sermon, but it feels good. So anyway, in my group chat that I had with just the 4 of them, because I have a group chat that's like everybody on the team, but I needed one that was solely my runners. And I knew that if I expect them to work the business, then I had to make sure I was doing it. So to hold me accountable as well as holding them accountable, it started out with every day me going, okay, your goal today is to post 3 times. I want you to post an interactive. I want you to post something personal, and I want you to post a plexus. Keep it simple. At the beginning of the month, there was a lot of times that I said, here's a graphic, go post it, because 2 of the runners, really Cassie was probably the only one that regularly posts on Facebook and Instagram. The other 3 weren't ever really active. So this was very big stretch for them to start posting, which probably got a lot of attention to their friends, because they're like, wait a minute, what's going on? But every day it's like, post these 3. Here's some things. Here's what you should post. Do this. Oh, here is a story. Go post this on your story. So I was, every single day, if I did it, I told them to do it. They saw me do it. They repeated it. So it was keeping me accountable in what I needed to do to grow my business, but then also making them accountable for, you said you wanted to reach this goal. This is what you're going to have to do. So I kept bringing up over the month that we should do an event. We should do an event. And I kept kind of putting it out there, like, let me know if you've got anyone interested. I'll do a Zoom call. I'll do something to help you talk to your people. Nobody ever really came back. I had done the girls' night training with Melissa. I had things that I liked about it. I had things that I didn't like about it. And I finally decided the last week, and don't do this, by the way, but I decided the last week of the month, do it, but don't do it the last week. Anyway, that we were going to do this template. Melissa already had it. I decided we were going to do it. So I looked at it and said, sometimes it's hard to get people on Zoom, but it's not always hard to get people on any, like an event page. So not a Zoom, we're going to do an event page. 2, all of my runners are full-time people. They have full-time jobs, okay, including myself. We're all, busy working during the day. We all have families. Some of us have younger kids at home. Some of us have, kids going out. One's got somebody getting married. We all 4 have a lot going on. So I knew in order to have a 1-hour-long nightly event could be hard to get all of us available during that 1 hour to participate. So I said, okay, I'm going to do a 1-day-long event. That's it. All I need is 1 day. At first, my posts were going to go 12 to 8, but by the time I kind of put everything in there, we went 11 to 8. We did a good morning. I did a live on Wednesday night of the last week. I did a live introducing. Thursday morning was a welcome. The post started at 11 and it went to, I think the last one was at 8:30. At the top of every hour
was a testimony, and these were our testimonies. I went live, welcome to the event, and gave the testimony. Kelly went live. The other three did a written. Andrea jumped in and did a live for me because, one, her story was a lot different than ours health-wise, and she mentioned a little bit about the income. And then at the bottom of the hour was all informational wise, with giving, we had games, so with some of the bottom of the hours was games, some was information, some was, what are your health goals? But I basically pulled everything from what Melissa had already given us in that girls' night template. And then I added a few things like all of our testimonies, and then added a few posts that I wanted to put in. So basically everything was there. And I can even share what we added new. But what was crazy, and I've just kind of learned this over years as well, I basically told my team, I believe Tuesday night, it might have been Wednesday morning, I said, hey, we're going to do an event. I said, I'm done with asking. Like, I had asked all month long, anybody got anyone available? And so I just said, you know what? It's the end of the month. We're going to push this. We all have goals. We're going to do this. And so I said, I'm setting it up right now. And so on Wednesday, I gave them a graphic to put in their story, a graphic to put in their post, and I gave them verbiage to send out to people. And honestly, what most of us did is we just invited. We got on there, we invited all the people that we've been talking to all month long, and even the month before that had not jumped yet. Anyone that we were wanting to talk to and hadn't yet, we invited them. Some people, some of the people we reached out to in comments or in messages saying, hey, we invited you to an event. Some actually got asked, but mostly, basically within a 24-hour period of setting up the page and starting it, we added almost 40 people, which I was like blown away. I was like, oh my gosh, guys, look, people are joining. This is so crazy. So, and because it was an all-day event, basically, it gave time in between everybody's schedule to get in there, to comment, to tag their people, to comment back to anybody that had commented. So from that event, we had, we actually had 5 people that signed up because of that event. And that was on the last 2 days of the month. But we had a total of 7 people on the last 2 days of the month. And we got a customer out of it. So that was great. Over the whole month, I hit gold. Cassie was able to re-rank silver. Kelly hit senior silver and gold. Sarah hit silver. Wendy hit senior silver. And then Courtney is also silver. We're kind of helping her run it. She's not really into the business, but that's her family members that she added. So I would say this is very doable for anybody. I mean, if you've got 5 people that are working full-time hours, 5 days a week plus family at home, and we added 21 people in the month, then you can do this too. I say do Zoom calls with your team, set up group chats, do one-on-ones. They each gave me goals, and that helped hold them accountable. But I was also good about saying, but look at what you can achieve if you look a little further. One thing I would also suggest is there's a link, if you have not ever looked at it, that says Fast Start. It's like one of the new links that it gave us. And if you did not realize this, just because they did not sign up somebody during their first 30 days, if they started, I think it's May or June, but if you look at that, like, okay, for instance, Sarah did not hit senior silver, Fast Start silver or Fast Start senior silver, but if she hits gold by the end of this month, it'll be considered Fast Start. and she gets those extra bonuses. So that's a really great tool. And I actually just told her that this morning. I'm like, you added 5 people. You only need 6 to hit senior silver. Let's go for gold. You know, it's very doable. And you want your husband to start. And if you hit gold fast start, then that bonus helps get your husband on the product. So I think it's that first month, I basically kept track of, look, if you add this, you get this, and you add this. So I was kind of checking everything that Melissa just taught us. I was doing that for them. Now, I just sent them a message during this going, we're having a training on this. So that going forward, they understood, how did I get everything? And what in the world was Melissa talking about? So, I mean, I've got just notes after notes after notes. I've already figured out, if I hit this, I'm making leaders retreat. If, you know, if Kelly hits this, she's made leaders retreat, you know, and what seems not doable is so doable. So basically, I need 13 people to hit senior silver this month. I'm going for ruby, because what I shared with my team this morning is my check engine light is on in my van. It is nearing 300,000 miles. Mama needs a new car. Okay, so, and I don't have the extra right now to make a payment. I need some bonuses because Mama needs a new vehicle here. So, and what's really great too, I'll just throw this one more thing out. I think I spent like 30 minutes sending all of this to Melissa, and she gave me 13 bullet points. And I'm like, how did you narrow 30 minutes down to 13 bullet points and that I would only talk for 10 minutes? That's not possible. And my team got a really good laugh about that, because usually our 1 hour Zooms become 2 hours, but because we like to talk. But incorporating your family. I'm a single mom. I've got 7 kids with 3 kids still at home, one of them being 6 and the other 2 getting ready to have birthdays. So they're turning 15, or they're turning 16 and 17. They're all on some sort of a product, and I will increase those products as my income increases. But they know how excited I am about this. And I keep saying, okay, I'm only this many away. Y'all pray for Mama, you know. But what's really funny, especially toward the end of the month, when I went, woo! They went, did you sign another one, Mom? Did a team member sign? Who got one this time? So they knew, like, I was excited and we had goals, and I'd be like, oh my gosh, this person just hit silver. And they were rooting my team on just as much as I was. So I tried to follow my notes. I'm not really sure if I did a good job.
I tell you what, like, you get me excited. Like, listening to that, guys, do you see her heart and her passion and her excitement? It makes you want to go, okay, let's do this. So thank you for sharing. I want you to hear a couple of things that she said. You have options. Like, you have great leaders that give really good information. Pull what is good for you and best for you and what you can do. Any leader that gives many options, like lots of options, never expects you to do everything. But if you can pull something, that moves the needle forward for you. So I love that she's like, we pull what we can. Like, I'm a single mama. I work full time. Like, I pull what I can. That's number one. Be creative. She was very creative. And she knew her audience. So when she did her event, she said, I liked the template, but I didn't want to do it the way that she did it. And I added a couple of things to it, but I used the baseline skeleton. But I knew my audience, and my audience is full time, and my audience only has a certain amount of time. And if I do it this way, they can jump in at any time during the day. She used her people as testimonies. I think that that's a huge piece, because those people are the ones who invited people into the event. So their guests got to see them, even if it's a very small testimony, because maybe they just got started. You still have benefits, and it's exciting for them to hear. And then one thing that I love that she shared yesterday with me that is such a big deal is duplication. So you heard her say, last month, she started her team thread with her runners and she'd say, do this. Like every day she gave them an action plan. Well, guess what? This month they're just doing it because it's duplicatable. Like they knew what to do because she told them, but it was simple steps. So this month they just continue to do that. But guess what? Because it's simple and she broke it down in pieces and they followed it, which they continue to follow because you just, you wash, you rinse and repeat, right? But now they know how to, whenever they start getting runners, to help them be duplicatable, keeping it simple. So, and then lastly, and then we're going to finish, is I love her visualization. So she said, I only need 13 for senior gold. We're going past senior gold. We're going for ruby because I know how to map it now. I can see it. I know what works for our team. I know what rallies us. But guys, my visual is a car. Like we need a car. We have worn our car out. Visually, this is what it means for me, and this is what brings joy. What's going to bring joy and provision for our family. It makes her every day get through the hard. That's why it's so important to do the visualization. So thank you. I loved everything she said is so teachable and points and nuggets that I hope that you pulled. I mean, like she taught me yesterday and she retaught me just now. So pull those things, use them as teachable moments for your people. And then I love that her children are involved. Amen. Like they're like, okay, Mama, what just happened? You just had a celebration. We celebrate every win. And then your kiddos see those celebrations happening and they get excited. They know that they're getting to that place because they're going to get a car. Right? So see those things, bring your people, we call them shareholders, bring your family in, let them get involved to see why you do what you do and what it means for them in the end. Guys, thanks for hanging with us. We went super long. My family's on the other side of this wall going, when is she going to be done? I can hear them in my ear because these are only supposed to be 30 minutes. They're supposed to be a little compact and we almost went an hour and a half. And I love you for sticking with us. I hope it was good for you. Because I felt like you needed to hear all the pieces. So thank you for sticking with us. Yeah, Laura.
I was just going to say, I'm just rescheduling the exact same event. I asked my team, I said, well, let's do at least one. And they were like, let's do 3. And I said, okay, let's do 2 because it's August and we don't know what school's going to be like yet. So we're going to do like next Tuesday and then 2 weeks after that. But, some of them, I think Cassie was saying, oh, I already had some that reached out to say, oh, I missed that last event. When's your next one? So that's super exciting. But if there's anyone that wants to just watch from the sidelines, just let me know. I'll send you an invite. But again, the template's there and you can see what we added and I can share it somewhere on the page if you need me to do that as well.
That's awesome. You can put the link out. Once I put the recording, put the link in the recording. And if y'all want to go join that page, y'all can see how she did it and everything. That would be awesome. All right, guys, y'all have a wonderful day. I'm so excited for August. I cannot wait to see what the Lord does. Y'all have a great one.
All right. Bye.